Husker Nation podcast with Tommie, Frazier, and Dan Powers starts now. Welcome to the Husker Nation podcast. I am Dan Powers, and I'm sitting alongside with Hall of Famer Tommie Frazier.
What's up, people? What's up, Facebook world? What's up, podcast land?
And so for the listeners that hear this, just the audio quality or the audio only version of this, the podcast, and you want to participate, we do record this and we're going to be consistent, right? We're going to try to be as consistent we can. Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Central Time.
Yes.
Over on Facebook.com/touchdowntommy. And if you want to participate, that's the place to do it. If you can't do it on Sundays, do you know, I set up a voicemail. You can actually call in and leave us a message. Now, somebody did that. I'll play it next week. And I will put the number in the show notes and on the notes of the Facebook. That's something we didn't have before.
Yeah, we did, man.
So you can call and leave a message.
You shocked me when I say, oh, got voice like this. Voicemail,
yeah.
We're big time now.
You can call and leave a message. We have somebody, God, I wish I knew who it was right away, but I will play it. Somebody did leave us a message. You can do that. I'll put that in the show notes. And a lot of people put a lot of questions and comments out on Twitter pre-show, and that's okay. I can't always go back, and it's
back and forth. It's just too hard going from one to the other.
But I'll read some of the comments to get, at least to start this. But there was a lot of good comments. A lot of people get really excited and they want to ask questions really prematurely, but that's okay when we can.
Yeah, people want to try to forecast what happens.
So I'll read a couple of these, and then you don't have to comment on it because we're going to go through some of these coaches. So today we're going to talk about the last 20 years of coaching.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the good, the bad, and
the ugly.
A little bit of what if games, maybe even. But let me read you a couple of Twitter tweets. A couple of tweets. So Eric Cole says Nebraska hired quite possibly the worst athletic director in college athletics history. Things probably weren't going too well to start with, but Pitt University followed suit. I don't know what that means. I thought he came from Pitt. Look what happened to their crown jewel basketball program. That was Eric Cole. K Holland 007007.
Glad you control it.
There is a certain amount of I don't pay. It's fun. People have comments. People have opinions. And
but I'm glad
you don't hold back well enough.
Yeah, that's why I'm glad you can control it because and for people who don't know that. Dan said, "Tom, I need to take over your Twitter account because we have fans out there. We don't want to piss the fans off all the time. So if you send something, send it to me and I'll clean it up. I'll clean it up for the fans because a lot of times half the stuff that I say, he cleans it up and it comes across better.
We should do a Twitter feed or just like an hour long Q&A on Twitter." And just let you be raw and just answer.
But there's some comments that people make, and I don't know if they're delusional. I don't know if they're really. I don't know if they're
tunnel vision, man.
Tunnel vision, whatever it is. But people need to truly sit back and think about what they say before they tweet it, because some of those comments that someone just made that you just read off, I would have had a field day. I would have had a field day with them. And so people, talking about the worst AD in history.
So you're now starting to go down that path.
Here's the reason why, because people they just look at what a person does here. Yes. Was he the worst AD in history? Probably not. Did he do some things that he regrets? Probably do. Did he do some things that I didn't care for and I worked for the guy for a year and a half? Yes. But doesn't mean he's the worst AD in Nebraska history because he was the one who built North Stadium. He was the one that built a new indoor practice facility. So every AD.
Isn't he the one that kicked off the basketball arena?
Yeah, he's the one that started. He's the one that had the idea of building the basketball arena downtown. Now, when it comes to his coaches hired, did he do a bad job? Yes. Did he do a bad job bringing the state together? Yes. But every AD has things they do. Even going back to Bill Burns. People didn't like Bill Burns, but Bill Burns was the one who modernized Nebraska football when it comes to raising larger money, larger funds. People don't like him as an AD, but he changed the way Nebraska thought. Okay, so when people say the worst AD, no, there's some good things he did, and there's some bad things he did. But we're talking about coaches.
Yep. So we went down that path. You can always leave us a message over at Twitter, though. And then, of course, you guys, we're going to start going, we're going to go through some coaches here. If you have questions, put them in the Facebook feed. And
about coaches.
Yeah, we're
not
talking.
The spring game.
Nope.
Not because I'm wearing a blue shirt. Not because Dan's wearing Iowa colors. We're talking about coaches of the last 20 years on Nebraska's coaches.
Yep. And we're going to start with none other than Mr. Frank Solich. Coach from 1998 to 2003, won 33 games, lost 15 games.
Yes.
Mr. Frank. So we're going to ask this, and we're going to do this in a real simple 3 questions. And my first, the 3 questions are really, what did you think Frank Solich, what worked for Frank? Mm-hmm. What didn't work for Frank? And then hindsight is, if we're being, expert armchair quarterbacks, what's the one thing you think Frank could have did differently that brought him more success? So those are really the 3 questions I'm going to ask about all the coaches we talk about.
Right.
And then if people have questions, we'll get to those. So Frank Solich. What worked? What did you think it worked? I
think Frank came in at the right time. Frank had been on Nebraska staff for over 20 some years. And so he was groomed to be the head coach. In my opinion, I think everybody know that. And I think Frank, he piggybacked on the success that Coach Osborne had his last 5-6 years, and it worked. And so and of course he had very good football players, but I think after so many years of that, you started seeing a transition in the talent level that Nebraska was competing for and bringing in. And no one ever would have thought Nebraska, when they're at the pinnacle, would have had a 7-7 season, coming off championships. I think they lost to Miami in the Rose Bowl, and then the next year Jamal Lowe was quarterback, and there's a huge drop in talent just from one year to the next, and those were all teams players that Frank recruited. So I think that was the downfall of Frank's career. And people, I know he went 33-15, but if you look at the last 3 years of his coaching job, he lost a lot of those games in the last 2 years of his job. Yeah. But as a former player, as a fan, you saw the difference in talent level that was going on. And then, quite frank, you also had some coaches who got up there to age and didn't really focus on recruiting to where they didn't have the energy to recruit, and he allowed them not to go on the road and recruit as much because of being loyal. And we say it all the time, sometimes loyalty gets you fired. And I think that's what happened with Frank late in his career. And then it also goes back to when you bring in an AD who was here on the staff, and those two never really got along when he was here. It was one of those deals to where it was going to happen. And most people in college sports, and you look across America, if you're not winning at the highest level, the AD, when he comes in, he wants to bring his own guy in.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And right, wrong, and different, whether Frank should have been fired or not, I thought it wasn't going to get any better based off what I was seeing on the field.
Yeah.
But just knowing the history between him and the AD that they hired, it was going to happen. I'm surprised. I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did.
What do you think's the one thing? And this is all hindsight, but what's the one thing Frank could have did differently that you think would have maybe extended his stay?
I thought maybe he should have brought in some younger coaches and young coaches with energy to go out and recruit, because college football now is about who can get the best players in here.
Yeah.
And Nebraska at the time weren't getting the best players. And I'm sorry to say that people, they weren't. When you happen to be out in northern Colorado on a player out of Colorado, and the University of Colorado didn't even recruit that kid, or Colorado State didn't recruit that kid, that says something about the type of talent that Nebraska was bringing in here. So there comes a point in time to where you got to say, hey, we'd love you to stick around, but we got to move in a different direction. And those are tough conversations, especially when there's guys and people that you've coached with for many years.
Yeah.
But when you see when it's your job on the line, loyalty only gets you so far. So I think if you start making the transition of changing and bringing in more energetic coaches for recruiting purposes, I'm not talking about coaches' skill levels. Yeah. I'm just because those guys were still great coaches. But the day they said that we're not going to go on the road, we're not going to recruit as much, then that was the time to say, well, we need to think of a change because recruiting is 75% of the battle. Because you got to get the talent in here.
Yeah.
And I think if you had to do it over again, I think that's probably where he would make some changes.
Ethan says we took Frank for granted.
How?
I don't think we took him for granted.
I don't think we took him for granted.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I thought you were going to go somewhere else, but I think that was Frank's downfall too. Was really the times have shifted and we did not recruit accordingly. Like
right.
The year, I was going to reference Jamal Lard too because that year Jamal Lard was
statistically he had better numbers than any quarterback in a single season.
He was scrambling for his life.
But he was scrambling for his life.
Yeah.
And people don't appreciate Jamal for what he did that year.
Now the argument I agree. Go on.
But over the last so many years, all these quarterbacks that Nebraska brought in here, Jamal Lord looked like a great player based off the quarterback play we've had over the last years.
Wouldn't it be fair? I would go to say Jamal Lord might have been probably one of the most underrated quarterbacks or unappreciated quarterbacks. Because at the time we were on such a high, and when Jamal took over is when things shifted and everybody blamed it on Jamal.
Right.
But he really carried that team.
He carried
for a
that
lot
team.
Of him, Dan, I mean, even people want to say, hey, I'm not trying to pick on Dan Alexander, right? Still was a good running back, but he was nothing in my opinion, compared to what we've seen previously. So those guys
the talent level dropped.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
It really did.
And people don't want to, and
it really did.
It dropped to the point where it wasn't what Nebraska had experienced from the 90s all the way to the early 2000s.
All right, here's a rumor. Scott comes in and says, hey, there was infighting going on between Milt and Frank. Milt didn't respect Frank as a play caller.
It could, I wasn't, but that could be true. I mean, when you get to the point to where
it could also not be true, right?
Yeah, it could be true. It could not be true. No, all the people knows are the people
Rumors,
who were behind those in those meetings. But there was times to where when I was there, Frank and Milt they didn't always get along. They didn't agree on how to block something, how to do something. That happens on a coaching staff. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out what is the best way to solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
And I guarantee you that was happening because it happens on every staff. So to where someone doesn't agree with how to play calls, kind of how to design something. That's coaching.
So to finish up with Frank, one of the comments is somebody's bound to ask or something to think is, okay, Frank went to Ohio and had some success at Ohio.
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't he have success here? If he would have stayed here, wouldn't he have the same success?
No, it goes back to. Why do coaches who have success at lower level FCS schools or smaller Division I schools, when they move to the big schools, don't have the same success? Because it's the type of players that they're comfortable with. Frank has had success at Ohio, but Ohio really never had any success until Frank got there.
Yeah.
And Frank is comfortable with he doesn't win that conference every year, but he's going to bowl games. He's winning 8 games a year. That's what Ohio wants. And he's doing a great job of that. But when you're talking about competing at the highest level, there's a reason why coaches get fired in the Power Five if they hadn't won big.
Yeah.
Because it's all about winning. It's not being comfortable. It's about winning. And if you don't win, they're not going to keep you around. And there's a coach we're going to talk about who won.
Yeah.
And they got rid of him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not about being comfortable or being low. It's about winning on a consistent basis.
Benny asked, did the coaches argue with Osborne like that?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Yeah. I'm assuming you can't be great if you don't have heated debates about something.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. That if you truly have an open door policy where everybody's opinion matters, then as a leader, you gotta be able to say a step up and say, and let a coach say, "Coach, you're wrong on this one."
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the best way to do this play. And you sit down, you go to the drawing board, and you figure it out. You know, dictators don't last long.
Yeah.
In anything. So you have to have, and if you truly respect the guy that you hired as a coach on your staff, then you got to respect them that they know the game of football just as much as you do. Because a lot of times, most head coaches don't know the game fully. They're just good leaders. They're good managers.
Yep.
Okay. It's very rare you see a head coach who knows football inside and out, how to do this offense, defense, whatever. They're just good managers and they know how to manage people because that's what head coaches are supposed to be. They'll make tough decisions. So I guarantee there day where Coach Osborne had those arguments with some of the coaches on the staff.
All right. So before we go on to the next guy, let me just say for those that have not done it already, and we'll be starting it here shortly, go to touchdowntommy.com and sign up for the newsletter. So you can just go to touchdowntommy.com, put your email address in, and you'll be hooked up. Mm-hmm. So we're going to do some updates. There's a lot of stuff coming up. There's events, there's activities, there's more shows, and we will get those out there. So if you're not getting those updates, go sign up for them.
Yes, go sign up for them.
Get it done. So Bill was there, Bill Callahan, from 2004 to 2007, won 15 games, lost 17 games. What worked for Bill? What worked with Bill here? Probably the toughest question of the day.
No, actually it's not a tough question for me.
All right.
No, I think what worked for Bill was that he had the NFL mindset to where he can go out and say, guys, I coached in the Super Bowl. I coached in the NFL. I can help you get there because I know what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
And I thought, and Bill brought on some very good recruiters too.
Yeah.
Okay. And he brought on a lot of talented players. That worked well for Bill. And he brought the mindset of changing Nebraska from the old modern days of option football, power running game to the West Coast offense, which everybody was going to.
Yeah.
And when you got a guy who a West Coast mind, you know, that worked for him. So he was able to go out and recruit the talent that he had. That and him changing, and Nebraska's need to appreciate Bill more than what they do.
Yeah.
Because if he wouldn't have done what he's did, there's a lot of players that Nebraska signed probably would never come here.
Yeah.
And so that worked well for him. People look at Bill's legacy here and they look at the defense. That's what hurt Bill. Because he was still putting up a lot of points on the scoreboard. The offense was playing well. Even with less talent, he was a mind when it comes to offense. But his downfall was the defense side of the ball. And it goes back to loyalty to friends gets you fired.
Yeah.
And I'm a firm believer, and I tell this people all the time, if Bill would have hired, got the second or third year he was here, went out and hired bring on a Bo Pelini as a defense coordinator.
Yeah.
Who not knows? Bill might still be here. Because it wasn't offense that was the problem, it was the defense. And Bill can care less about defense because he was offensive minded.
Yeah.
If people follow that. So Bill, I appreciate what Bill did, a change in the way Nebraska's looked at in the recruiting world as, hey, we're not just an option team. We're going to throw the ball. We're going to bring in talent. We're going to throw the West Coast offense. That's what Nebraska needed to do.
Yeah.
Times were changing. You don't see too many teams running the option football today. And Nebraska's still been doing that, but they won't be getting the talent that they're getting now.
Yeah, they would have to develop that talent. Is that fair to say?
They'd have to develop, and football, college football right now is not about developing talent anymore because Bobby Bowden said it a long time ago. Hey, if you're recruiting a 4 or 5 star football player, you play them as a true freshman because if they're as good as they're supposed to be, they're leaving school early anyway. If they're not, then you need to go recruit someone else to come and take their job. So I know people say we need to develop, but we don't have time to develop anymore with the way it's called, because everyone wants immediate success right now. He did some good things. Offense, defense was his downfall.
Yeah, Cosgrove.
Yes. I didn't want to say his name, but you go ahead and say it. Yes.
Isaac Cosgrove. Yes. It was terrible defense.
Yes, it was.
We went from having, I don't know how many years, decades.
Having top defenses
to just being an absolute crap show on defense. It was awful to watch. It was absolutely awful. I do think on the offensive side, just to say the first year, I think how Bill handled it, not a coach, but I think he handled the first year poorly. in my opinion. I don't think I think there was a transition period. I think anytime you walk into a situation, you say, okay, this isn't working. The option's not working. We're going to West Coast offense. There has to be a transition period to get people there. And to take Joe Daly and just say, you are now not an option quarterback. You are now going to run this. I don't think played to his talent. I just don't think he put Nebraska in a place to win.
But that to me, that's why I like what he did, because if Joe Daly is your most experienced quarterback, you don't want to just throw him out and say, we're going to bring in a guy. You want to try to manage him and get him because he's the best guy you have on roster right now, and you got to recruit that guy. You know, so I think that's what happened. And Joe didn't play awful. Yeah. He didn't play awful. You know, it's no different. It's no different. And we're going to talk about this because let's talk about Tommie Armstrong. Yeah. So when Mike Riley came in, Mike Riley had to adjust his offense to Tommie, but even though he knew that Tommie wasn't the guy that he really wanted for his offense. So you just can't, when you come in as a new coach and you got a guy who started, you just can't say, oh, I'm changing the offense, so we got to throw him out. You got to see what he can do. I felt like Riley did a better job at that than Bill Callahan did with Joe Daly. Well, in hindsight, it's 2020. It is. I just felt that's some of the fun of this. That's the fun of it, but I just felt at that time, Joe Daly gave Nebraska the best chance to win. I would agree. I just don't think they played to his talent. They did because once again, you're trying to implement an offense because it's just not quarterback. You got to get the offensive lineman involved. You got the receivers, because I think they had a lot of young receivers too. Yeah. You know, so I think all that plays into it until they get a guy in here that knows how to run the offense. And I think that's when they went out and got the kid that was at Arizona State. They brought him in for Sam Keller. Was it Sam Keller? Sam Keller was in the mix. Then Joe Gans came in later. Before Joe came, who was the guy? God, this sounds really bad. I should know this. Who's the quarterback out of Oklahoma? He's now head coach for Cleveland. Oh, right? Cincinnati. Oh, who was that? Taylor. Yeah. Sorry, Taylor. Yeah. So I mean, it's stuff like that. He did a good. The offense looked. It didn't look good because that's not who Joe Towns was, but he did the best he could the first year. Because everyone knows when head coach comes in the first year, it's kind of gimme. You come in and start building your culture. We're not expecting anything. Yeah. It's year two where you want to see a big difference. You know, and I think you did on the year two with Bill Callahan. You saw a huge difference from year one to year two. There was a moment in time where we peaked in the top 20. We peaked, I think, to 14. Right. With Taylor as quarterback, and like the offense was starting to click. Yes. But the defense just could not hold on. Couldn't keep the wheels on the bus. The defense was Bill's problem. You know what? Here's the other thing everybody talks about Nebraska basketball now. Let me tell you, in my opinion, we would not talk about Nebraska basketball other than this little niche group of people without Bill Callahan. Yeah. Because once Bill Callahan came in, people were so mad and so disgusted, and they're so hungry for something to hold on to. All of a sudden, basketball became a thing. Here's the reason why people are mad. Because the AD came in and fired one of Nebraska's finest. He played fullback here. It's legacy. It's legacy. If you think of Nebraska football, you think about history, Frank Soul's name was part of it. And when you get an AD comes in and fires that person, which was the last link to Coach Osborne, people was upset. Right, wrong, or indifferent, they were. Yep. And people care less if Nebraska, Frank Solich could have lost, could have went 7-7, 8-5, whatever for 5 years in a row, and people will say, oh, he's doing a good job because he was that link to Coach Osborne. Yeah. But when the money starts playing a factor in it, it's not about being loyal to people that played at the university, coached there, whatever. How long? Because the end result is winning. Yep. At the end of the day, end of the year, winning. And win at the highest level at Nebraska. And I know people have gotten to the point where we're improving, getting better. No, people, at the end of the day, you still want to win championships. I'm sorry. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. I don't care who the head coach is. Yeah. You're going to be judged off winning championships. Not how many people you graduate, not because you're likable in the public and all that. No. How many championships did you win? How many conference championships are you competing for? That's what people going to judge you off of. I think you answered all my questions. Bill, now we're moving on to. Let's talk about the next. God, we got the volcano. Maybe the most
confrontational guy we've ever seen on the field in the Lincoln.
Yep.
Mr. Bo Pelini, 2008 to 2014, won 38 games, lost 17 games, and chewed out a ton of referees.
Right.
Same question. What's the one thing to start with? What did Bo do good?
Defense.
Early on.
I'm gonna say that early on.
I was gonna call. See that.
I'm gonna say early on. But his defenses were good early on because of the players that he walked into.
Interesting.
See, people look at Bo as his defensive mind. Yes, his defense early was good, but he didn't recruit the Dominic Sues, the Alfonso Denards, or
Gregory.
He recruited Gregory. Who was the other, the Levante Davis? Was it Levante Davis?
Yeah,
no,
David.
No. So who was the other linebacker that was there before Levante?
Jared Crick?
No, Williams. Williams. But there was a lot of players. Yeah. There was a lot of players on that team, or the Bo Rules, or the Rule brother.
Yeah.
He didn't recruit those kids.
Yeah.
So they were talented. And he came in and he put their system together and said, "Hey, we're gonna attack." And those guys flourished in that mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. Then he got to the point where he started getting too big for his own britches. When he thought he was, and then because he was winning 9 games here, 9 games there. Fine. His problem was offense. You come in, you keep Sean Watson, and you tell Sean, go ahead, do your deal.
Yeah.
And then you get rid of Sean and you bring on Tim Beck. And I'm pretty sure, I don't know for a fact, there were a lot of infighting on the offensive side. Yeah. And look what happened, to where now you don't know what type of offense you're going to see from year to year. And I believe
that's when the whole identity crisis came in. The whole
identity crisis changed. And I do know for a fact he wasn't playing the best players that should have been playing. Personally, I know that, because players used to tell me that. I don't understand why this player's not playing. I don't understand why he's playing. I know that.
I think go on.
And I know my cousin was there, but there's other players I knew that should have been playing that weren't playing.
I think you're being nice about it.
Yeah, I'm being nice about it, but when players see that,
yeah,
and then they're like, wait a minute, why am I here? Why should I play hard for this guy when the best players aren't playing? And then his demeanor, then the way he approached the media, the way he approached the things that he would say in meetings, how he would curse the kids out.
Yep. And
I don't trust me. I don't mind Coach going in and saying the F-bomb here and there, but don't attack a player personally.
Yeah.
If it's something that they're doing, action, attack their action, not them personally. And he was doing that a lot, and I think people just got fed up with it. Now, did he win a lot of games? Yes, he did. And I'll be the first one to say, hey, I think people nowadays would have took his antics over what they're saying here now.
Maybe that'd be a good poll.
I'm just saying, because he was still winning 9 games.
He was, and that's important.
That's
important. No, come on, wait. You just said championships what matters,
right? And he went to the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, he did.
He went to the Big 12 championship. Did they go to Big 12 championship?
Yeah.
So I mean, he was competing for it. Now he didn't win them, but he was competing for it.
Yeah, he went.
Bo's problem was his demeanor.
Dude, he's an asshole.
He was, and that's what he was. And I honestly believe that if you take that out of it, Bo would have done a lot. But people just couldn't get on how he was embarrassing Nebraska football. That's not Nebraska. That wasn't the Nebraska way.
Couldn't appreciate. It was hard when he did something right. It was hard to appreciate.
Well, yeah, because he's gonna put his foot in his mouth the next day.
He was so anti the fan, anti media, anti everything. He just, it's gonna be my way. Did not play the best. I mean, even I knew that.
Being a head coach, there is some politics involved in it.
I'm sure, and it's a lot of stress. He did not know how to deal with it.
It's a lot of stress, but you can.
Bo needed to meditate a lot.
You can soften that stress that you had by playing the game. You got to learn how to play. It's a game when it comes to head coach. You could give them enough to where they're happy, where you're not really saying anything. And when you're in the media and someone asks you a question, and your first thing, you tell me, you started to play, you tell me what happened. No, You the head coach. You're making millions of dollars. Your job is to sit there and answer the tough questions.
Yeah.
Because if you answer the tough questions, they're going to back off. But people, the media and people kept prodding him because they knew they can get him agitated and get the sound bites. Bo. I did it with him. And he responded to me what he did. And I'm like, hey, why is he worried about? I'm saying I'm not in charge down there. But I do, but you can't have an opinion on what you see. Doesn't mean your opinion is right.
Yeah.
But you can. And I think people these days, social media have made people very sensitive to what's said. And they want to become combative and challenge and fight and respond to everything. And you know me, just like you and I, you know me. I used to be that way, but now I don't worry about what people say.
Bo clearly, because he would reference tweets, he would reference posts, and let's face it, when your message went out there, the wheels fell off it was just, I shouldn't say the wheels fell off. The wheels were already off, but he just continued, and he was just going to come after you. He was going to come after anybody that liked it. It was just never going to work. And
I was a Bo supporter early on.
No,
I want to see Bo do well. I'll support him as much as I could.
But it was clear it wasn't going the right way.
But when things in people, when things in relationships change, then the whole dynamics change. And me and his relationship changed because there's some things that communication that we had that wasn't like, really? Huh? Yeah. Are you serious? Right. Okay, cool. You lost my support now. I try to support everyone. I do. Yeah. But I'm to the point now to where I'm not going to support something until they win. Because hopes and dreams don't get you anywhere. It's actually going out there and doing it. So that's why that for me, Bo's downfall was he put too much stock in one player.
And he did.
He put too much stock in one player.
Well, because everybody criticized him, and he's just like, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to do it my way. The ego was so ridiculous. It just,
but once again, he was a head coach that had never been a head coach.
Yeah. But remember, Nebraska fans wanted him.
Did Nebraska fans want him?
I believe so. I think that's the guy they wanted. Give me that guy. Because they had a taste of it back in the Solich day.
Yeah,
and this guy's a genius.
Yeah, but I don't know if all Nebraska fans wanted him. Because there was another coach out there who had proven himself, being a head coach at a smaller division, taking it up, and he's my mentor that he's bypassed. Think about that. So I don't know if all Nebraska fans wanted him.
There was a good support for it.
There was good support. But for me, I didn't necessarily want him because we always grew up. When I came to Nebraska, it was all about taking care of family. We all want treating loyalty. You go off and you do things, you do good things. We're gonna bring you opportunity to come back.
Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to say I thought Turner Gill was screwed.
Yeah.
I really did. Here's a guy who went to Nebraska, came here, coached here, went off well, became a head coach and did well at Buffalo, which I think he was the reason why Buffalo is where they are today because the way he built that program up. And here's an opportunity to bring one of Nebraska's own head coach, great, and you screw him over for a guy who's only defensive coordinator here for 9 games. To me, I thought that was wrong. I thought that was wrong. No, and people say, well, look what he did at Kansas. Look what any coach has done at Kansas.
Yeah, look what's going to happen this year at Kansas.
Yeah, right? So you can't base on what he did at Kansas.
Yeah.
But then he goes to Liberty and has some success at Liberty.
Yeah.
And so I'm just saying that I understood why. Let me rephrase that. I get it why they did it. I just don't understand why. When you had a guy who had head coaching experience, a guy who coached up under you, a guy who understood your system, ran kind of the same offense you did, what you wanted to do, and you bypass it for a guy because of defense. And it turns out defense wasn't as good his last 3 years either.
He seemed like he was really good at position coaching, if anything. Yeah. Like he just didn't.
No, and I think he's a great defense coordinator. I didn't think Bo was a great head coach. I don't think he was head coach material.
Well, I think the nation learned a lesson from that.
Yeah.
Like we taught other programs what not to do.
Right. And it hurt Nebraska football. Image-wise, it hurt Nebraska football.
Massively. Yeah, massively. I think we beat that one up.
Yeah.
Could even go further. I could bitch about that one all day.
I know you could.
In my opinion, worst, in my lifespan, by far the worst coach we've had. Head coach.
Head coach, explain to them more, because I don't think he was. I think people think he's the worst head coach because of his image, his attitude.
I think that's why. I think there's two things that are really important to me. I think winning, number one.
He did that.
We need to win.
He did that.
Yeah, he did. We need to win. Number two, I think we need to win in a certain fashion. I think we need to win. I think there's something to be said for I loved about the win with Osborne, or anything that I watch sports wise. Mm-hmm. I love when teams dominate and win, and they do it in the most, clean, upright, like they have there's no undermean, there's no, I don't want to, what the word is, you don't feel like you're being cheated. You don't feel like, oh, they won because of this, they won for that. And when Bo won, it just always never felt right. Like it wasn't like you won, but there's a
There's a black cloud over it.
Yeah.
Okay. I get it.
That's what struggled for me. And I'm like, I want to win. I want to see the team that wins. And you're just like, and that's partially because of the 90s, right?
Right.
I grew up in that, and there was things that happened in the 90s that weren't all legit per se.
Right.
But when you guys walked off the field, people were like, there was no question. Like,
they won the right way.
You won, yeah.
They played hard.
And I just Bo won, but there was always that dark cloud.
Yeah, I get it, but I'm just not sold on that he was the worst coach ever in Nebraska history. I don't get that, because he won. He won more games than any other coach we've had since Bill Callahan, him, Mike Riley. He's won more games. People just have a hard time with him because of his demeanor. How he sometimes he was like a little kid out there throwing tantrums. And that's what Nebraska's was not used to that.
It was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing. I think that's the reason why he's not with us anymore, because of that. And I was happy to see him go, because he was an embarrassment in the national media. But I can't take away that he still won 9 games every year.
He did.
He still won 9 games every year. So that's why I'm not going to say he's the worst coach. Now, worst PR guy as a head coach? Yes.
Well, for those that were on the Facebook and now they're listening to the podcast.
I get where you're coming from. You grew up here. You saw the history.
Yeah, I was spoiled.
You were spoiled. Well, not even spoiled, but you saw how a head coach is supposed to act.
There's a way to do it. And if you're going to win with class and you're going to lose with class.
Right.
And we didn't do either.
Right.
We won, but we didn't win with class.
I get you.
And we didn't lose with class. It was just a sore spot for me.
But you've always had it. You've been this way with him from day one, though.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you with Turner Gill. That was where there was something about Bo that was enticing and interesting. But man, there's something about Turner Gill too. Not only the fact, and it's not even just the fact that he was an ex-Husker. That helps. But the beauty that he brought was he had gone away and proven it.
Mm-hmm. Proven that he can win and build a program.
Yeah.
And so that's why I was kind of like, okay, really? No. All right. Well, you make the decision. And Coach Osborne hired him. He was an AD. You have a choice as AD. You have a choice.
Yeah.
Mike Riley, huh?
Oh, Mike Riley,
huh?
So let me go to Mike Riley. Short-lived Mike Riley here. Actually, there was one other coach before Mike Riley.
Who?
Barney Cotton.
Oh, I don't consider him a coach. I think he's just filling in because they need someone.
One game.
Yeah, but that to me that doesn't. It's no different than you say. Okay, Bo Pelini was the assistant head coach there for the bowl game when he beat Michigan.
Yeah. All right, so Mike Riley was there from 2015 to 2017. He won 12 games, lost 14 games.
I thought it was impossible for Mike Riley to have success.
But wait, you missed the question. What did he do right though? To start with, What did he do right?
What he did right, he calmed the passion. He brought a calming presence.
You think
to
that was the primary reason he was brought in?
I think it was.
Yeah, makes sense.
I think it was.
It makes sense.
I thought he brought a calming man. I thought he was so much like Coach Osborne, his demeanor.
Yeah.
To where it's like, whew, we got a guy who's not gonna fly off the rocker when they lose or this and that. That's what I thought he did, and it was tough. It was tough times when he come in here.
Well, people were out of their people were so livid about Bo and the image he had created.
Right. And to where they just wanted someone totally different than Bo.
Yeah.
And they brought him in here. And I like Mike.
Is it fair to say if they didn't calm down, if they didn't do something to calm everybody down, they were probably looking at the sellout streak to end?
Yeah. Yeah. People were, yeah. And so I think what he did, where he was that figure that can say, hey, I'm calm. I'm not going to curse. I'm not going to yell at officials. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to show the players that we love them, truly love them. We care for them. We're going to bring a change in a culture here. And a lot of people didn't like the hire, but I understood the hire.
I think a lot of people didn't understand the hire.
I understood it. And people said, well, he was 500 at Oregon State. Go back and look at his history at Oregon State. And you compare Nebraska and Corvallis, Lincoln, and what he did up there, did a great job. Because they had, 2 coaches since he left. Yeah. And they didn't have winning seasons. So what he did there was a great job. And he also had more first round draft picks through the whole time when Bo than Nebraska had. He had more players drafted than Nebraska had. Yeah. So right there showed that he knew how to take less talent and develop it. So that's why I understood it, because I look at the whole picture, and most people say, well, he's 500 at Oregon State. Well, don't forget, University of Alabama went after him 3 or 4 years prior, and he turned them down. Yeah. So obviously there's something about his coaching pedigree that he had. I just thought he came in at the wrong time, because no one was going to give him a chance.
Well, and everybody beats him, but if you look back at the winning percentages, him and Bill Callahan were almost identical.
Right.
But but
no one was going to give him a chance no matter what, because they're like, Mike really.
He was not set up to win. He was set up really as a
buffer. Yeah. A buffer. And that's why they only gave him 3 years. I was adamant saying a coach can't change a program in two or 3 years. They need time to get players in it. And when you go back to say him trying to do things with his offense that Bill Callahan did with Joe Daly, he had to go through the same thing.
Yeah, he did.
He had to go through the same exact thing.
The situation was probably even worse for them.
Yeah, but then he proved to me that his loyalty, it doesn't matter. We got to win. And he got rid of a guy that has been with him for years as the coordinator and brought another guy. Yeah. So right there, let me know, hey, this guy's a man. He's a leader because he can make the tough decisions. But the ultimate goal was he didn't win enough games. No. And once again, it goes back to you got to win football games. I don't care what you do. You got to win football games.
It seemed like that last season, 2017, that the writing was already on the wall. Right. And there just wasn't any ambition to do much other than just fulfill his contract. Right. And I'm not beating him up because I'd love
no.
Something was terribly wrong. And something
it could have been leadership. Yeah. It could have been leadership the direction he led.
Well, supposedly him and was it Eichhorst at the time? Or was
it was Sean Eichhorst.
Was he there the last season?
Yeah, Sean was there last year. They got rid of Sean early in the season, remember? That's right. And that's when they brought in Dave Remington for a short period of time.
That's right. But there seemed to be some conflict, and they said, Eichhorst was pulling all the strings, and there's all those rumors and everything, but there was clearly something there because that last season, there was hardly any effort being put in.
Right. There was a disconnect.
It was completely disconnect. The students are dancing around and being fools on the side, or just not even watching the game.
And disconnect, and we got it. I thought he should have got another year because I didn't want Nebraska to get into the position of turnover so much to where. I mean, it just I just in hindsight 2020. But me me coaching at a school where we weren't very good, and I me being a head coach 2 years when I didn't do a very good job.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem, but I understand the immediate urge to win now. Because there's a whole lot of zeros that are playing getting involved in it. And so I get it, but I just didn't want Nebraska getting into the business of giving a coach 2 or 3 years and getting rid of him. Because at the end of the day, I hope this doesn't happen. What if Scott doesn't have winning season after 3rd year? You gonna get rid of him?
I completely agree with you. I think it was premature. Even with how bad 2017 was.
Yeah, no, you can't build a program in 3 years.
I think it was premature. And I don't think he was set up personally don't think he was set up for success. Right. It was clear that he was disengaged.
Right. So, but I like Mike did a lot of things where he calmed the storm.
We're a very conservative state, right? For the most part. It just is what it is. So Mike brought that, what people in this state wanted, he brought that back.
Mm-hmm. He just didn't win enough games.
No. He didn't win
enough games. And it goes back
games.
to what we say there. I don't care who it is. You got to win football games.
Yeah. It's going to be the same thing for Scott.
You got to win football game. That's the end.
Doesn't matter if he's here from here or not.
Yeah, you got to win.
That might buy him an extra year or so.
But you got to win games and compete at the highest level. That's what they brought you here for.
Yep.
But we'll talk about that off. Oh, we can talk about it now because we're not on Facebook.
We're not even live anymore. No. So for those that were on Facebook and switched this, if you're curious what happened somewhere along the line, I lost all internet.
Yeah, because I think it's your Wi-Fi or something.
Yeah, just like everything just completely went off. So I'm not sure what happened, and I can't really look in the middle of this, so limited. So, but the good news is it's still recording.
Yes.
So we can talk about the last person, which we weren't going to talk about on the Facebook.
Right. So
So before you say it, but so if you guys want to hear this stuff, you should be subscribing to iTunes, Google Play, wherever. Go look up Touchdown Tommie. Or Husker Nation podcast, and you will find out any of those things. And if you like what you hear, leave a review. If you don't like what you have,
leave a review.
Leave a review. Tell us.
We like the good, bad, and ugly. We like criticism too. Yeah. Because that's the only way we're gonna make our job, us do better. Now, we might not respond to your criticism when you want to, but we hear everything. We read everything. When we take everything in, how we put on the show, what we say on the show, we do it.
So tell us. Tweet, leave a review, but go subscribe.
Leave a voicemail.
Leave a voicemail.
Did you leave the number?
I don't know what the number is.
I figured you didn't.
Off the top of my head. I don't know what it is on top of my head, but we'll put it in the show notes and the Facebook. We'll put it out there.
Right.
Because you leave a voicemail. Leave us messages. Trying to be more interactive with this, but there is pieces to this podcast when we record these on Facebook that we're saving for the podcast. So Scott Frost was the one. We were going to make that special at the end and only available on the podcast, not on Facebook Live. But since we are not live anymore, we can't just roll right on to Mr. Frost. So Mr. Frost has been here 1 year.
Yep.
1 year. He went 3-6. And what did he do right?
4-8.
1 year.
He went 4-8.
4-8.
Yeah, he went 4-8 last year.
Did he go? You're right.
The same record that Mike Riley had.
Oh, so I say 3-6 is ridiculous because that's only 9 games, but that must have been when this was updated last.
Yeah, he went 4-8.
Wikipedia.
He went 4-8.
Somebody go update Wikipedia.
So,
you're right. 4-8. What did he do right?
What did he do right? He brought a culture to where he's forcing the players to work harder. I think he's giving the best players the opportunity to play. Yeah. It's hard to say what he do.
I know, it's only 1 year.
Because when I look at it, they still finished 4-8.
Uh-huh.
The same record they had the year before when you fired a coach going 4-8.
It's hard to, yeah. It's even with Mike Riley, it was hard. Oh, I got another question for you in a minute.
So what did he do right? I think he brought hope to the state. Mm-hmm. I think he brought a new energy to the program. I think he brought that he can get it done because what he did 2 years at Central Florida. Mm-hmm. But he still finished 4-8. And I'm not being harsh. I'm not.
No disclaimer.
I'm just.
You're right.
I'm just looking at the end result.
And everybody listening to this will have a million reasons why he's 4-8.
Yes, but I don't care about the reasons. He it's still 4-8. And we played hard. Okay, we're still 4-8. Mm-hmm. The team fought the whole time. We're still 4-8.
Yep.
People make all excuses. Whatever. 10 years from now, if he's still a head coach here, when they look at his record, they're gonna say, his first year was 4-8, but the team played hard. Mm-hmm. 4-8. His first year there. And I'm not being hard. I get it. I understand the way he had to come in and he had to play guys and that he did not normally want to play there. I get it. But when you look at the end of the day,
he brought in a lot of guys.
He brought in, and people say, well, and this would bother me more than anything. Oh, this is Mike Riley team. No, he brought in over 50-something players himself.
Yeah, he brought in.
So these are players that he brought in.
Yeah.
So 53 of the 85 scholarship players he brought in.
Mm-hmm.
But he's 4-8. People want to give him a pass. Fine.
Tough season, hard season.
Change first year transition. Cool. I get it.
Hard.
But he still was 4-8. There's games where they should have won. And he lost.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? You can't blame it on players because there were some coaching decisions that happened in those games that cost them to lose games. And people don't want to say it. I say it. There are some decisions coaching wise that cost them two or three games last year.
It was clear, yeah.
Okay? But they still 4-8. Is it going to get better? I think it's going to get better. You can't go anywhere but up. Okay? Can't. And whoever listens to people, oh, he's been harsh, or he just don't like Scott. I have nothing against Scott coaching. Okay? I think he's a young offensive mind, one of the young great offensive minds out there. Okay? He's been mentored and trained under some of the greatest coaches out there. But I'm to the point now with the Nebraska football program. I'm so tired of people giving coaches excuses of why they can't be successful. Go out and be successful. They're paying you to do your job. You go out and be successful.
Yeah.
Because I still remember a point in time to where Coach Osborne was winning 9-10 games while losing to Oklahoma, and they want to fire him then.
Ooh. Yeah.
Because he couldn't get to the big game. And now we're saying, we're building up. No, people don't drop your expectations of what Nebraska program should be. And I think over the last 20 years, Nebraskans have dropped their expectations.
We definitely have. There's no doubt. What we wanted in the year 2000 from Frank is very different than what we want now.
Yes. And
that's why I go back and say Bill Callahan made basketball popular in Nebraska.
Yeah, so that's what I'm getting at. Keep your expectations high. Don't ever think, well, we just want to go to a bowl game. Well, I thought Nebraska, you went to 20-some straight bowl games, and people say, well, we want to win the national championship. So if your expectation now is just get back to bowl games, really? Come on. You set lofty goals. And you put those in every year. That number one goal in Nebraska was to win a national championship. That was the number one goal. Not, we want to go to a bowl game. Or we want to win we'll go to the national championship, we want to win the Big 8. But the ultimate goal was to win a national championship. And we got to get Nebraska's fans thinking that way again. That the ultimate goal is to win a national championship. Now, knowing that's not possible every year. But if you're doing the things right, you give yourself a chance. And right or wrong, do I think Nebraska will win the national championship anytime soon? Probably not. Do I think Nebraska can compete for the Big Ten soon? Probably not this year, maybe not next year. But 3 or 4 years, I think they have a legitimate chance too.
Yeah.
But understanding what's happening down there. You gotta give him time to get his players in there. You gotta give him time to implement his system. You gotta give him time to get the players on the workout program that he wants to implement. That's part of it. But don't give any coach a pass because he's still 4-8. And Mike Riley last year was what? 4-8. So, so to me, it's still different people, different outcomes, the same results. That's how I view it.
All right. Boom, boom, boom.
But I would love for Scott to come in and get Nebraska back to where everyone's talking about them in the national, they're in the top 5, top 10 every year. I would love that. So now you're giving yourself a chance.
Yeah, we want to make it exciting again, fun, competitive, but all that comes with winning.
Yeah.
I mean,
people go to games now. Oh, I hope we win. Does Nebraska have a chance?
I hope we're competitive. I hope we stay in this. I hope we.
Yes. To where before hole.
And they say that about Illinois.
Yes.
Purdue,
and we
Indiana.
lost Purdue. We lost Illinois 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. We lost to Northwestern the last couple of years. Come on, we lost to Minnesota
in our own house.
Yeah, that teams like that shouldn't be better than Nebraska. I don't care who the head coach is.
Nope.
I don't care who the head coach is. We shouldn't be losing to Purdue. We shouldn't be losing to Minnesota. We shouldn't be losing to Illinois.
Nope.
We shouldn't. We shouldn't. Go down the wire with Rutgers and we should be dominating those teams. Now you say, hey, Michigan State, Nebraska, every other year win and loss. Iowa, we shouldn't be losing to Iowa like we lose to them.
Here's the thing: if you look at this logically, at least for me, I look at the money we spend. The amount that goes into that program should dictate that we beat all those teams you mentioned.
Yes.
It should. We have the facility.
We spend more money than them.
Yeah. Kansas should beat us every time they play us in basketball.
Yes.
It should. So when Northwestern, Purdue, Illinois, Indiana, when those guys come and beat us.
Or play us where we're nail biters.
It is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. Now I understand Michigan State. I understand Ohio State. I understand Penn State. I understand Michigan. I understand Wisconsin.
They're putting the money into it.
The dog fights. Hey.
Yeah.
But when you're losing to teams that don't invest in a program the way you do, I don't care who the head coach is. You shouldn't lose to those teams no matter what.
Well, especially when you look at, and a lot of those teams, so I know for a fact, Purdue, Illinois, there's Indiana, Northwestern, Northern Illinois, which beat us in our own place. They all compete for a lot of the same guys. Yeah. And not to take away from any of those guys, but they are not going after the 4 or 5 stars guys. No. They're not going for I don't know how to classify it, and I don't know how to say this without sound bad, but they're going for the B level athlete, right? A level athlete is going to Michigan. They should be going to Nebraska, Ohio State. Yeah. So when those guys that don't have the facility, Northern Illinois is the first team in the MAC division that just got an indoor practice facility. And when those teams are coming here and beating us in our own house, and they don't have the resources, they don't have the talent, they don't have the coaching, supposedly don't have the coaching. Because
it's sad. It's sad. And this goes back to Bo Pelini. This goes back to Frank Solis. This goes back to Mike Bill Callahan. This goes back to Mike Riley. There's teams based off Nebraska that you should never lose to. Mm-hmm. Never. And I don't care
Iowa State.
I don't care the coach you have. Anything. There's teams that should never beat you. If you say, hey, we're losing Ohio State. Oh, we lost Ohio State 3 years in a row, 4 years in a row. Okay, Ohio State get the best of the best.
Yeah.
Losing Michigan. Well, Michigan get the best of the best.
When you guys lost, and now we're going down the rabbit hole in this case, but when you guys lost to Iowa State,
that was not
them being better than you guys.
No, that was us. That was us playing at their level.
Mm-hmm. That's
we could have played them 10 times that year.
Yeah.
And we should have been 10 times, but one day they caught us. We didn't play practice well that week at all.
Yeah,
we didn't. And
but that's my point.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we gotta get our expectations back up to where Nebraska is winning at the highest level, no matter who the coach is. And people excited off coming off a 4-8 season. Ludicrous. That's bull. To me, that's bull.
I'm not excited.
Now, the schedule is a little bit easier.
I'm hopeful.
The schedule is a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But they lost games last year they shouldn't have lost. Even with a tough schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Who's the running back going to be this year? Who's the wide receiver going to be this year? Have they really upgraded the offensive line? Have they really upgraded the defensive line? There's a lot of unknowns.
Yeah. We might actually take a little bit of a hit talent-wise this year. I don't know.
I don't know.
When you say like running back, I don't know what.
But I'm just basing off what they lost from last year, and what they brought in to replace.
Yeah,
that stuff.
We don't know.
We don't know. Only time will tell. And I don't think the spring game is going to let you know much.
No, but people want to talk next week about it.
We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
It isn't going to tell any story.
No.
I mean, yeah, I'm not even going to go there.
No.
It's not going to tell a story.
But we're still 4-8.
But we have hope. And if you have hope, well, I don't know. You gotta hope.
Just do it. What's Nike slow? Just do it.
Just do. I was trying to think of,
just do it.
Star Wars, the new hope.
We all have hopes. I have hopes I'm gonna win the lottery.
I have hopes.
But I'm not gonna. I can't win unless I play it right.
Yeah. Well, my prediction is they definitely are better than 4-8 this year.
I think they will be.
That's my prediction.
I think they will be.
Definitely
I think they win 8 games this year.
Yeah.
I think they go 8-4, 8-5.
Not too good. Yeah. If they don't, to me, if they don't win 8 games, maybe even 9 games, it's a letdown. For the reasons we just said, the money, the value we put in that program, how high, the money we're paying out to coaches, the talent we supposedly have. If we don't win 8 games or maybe even 9 games.
What did I say last year on their record? I say Nebraska might go 6-5-7 at the best.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh no, I see 7-8 win victories.
Because I'm doing the math.
I'll do the math. No, I did the math, but I also saw the schedule.
Yeah, the schedule.
I also saw the schedule.
It's a schedule. But this year with the schedule,
it's easier.
Yeah.
They don't play Michigan.
Yeah.
They play Ohio State, Wisconsin at home, Iowa at home. Well, last year they played all teams on the road.
They should, just by the investments made in this program,
they should win.
And the schedule they have.
Exactly.
They should win 8 games.
Yes.
And if they don't, it is a huge letdown.
Yes. Yes.
All right. Audio version, higher quality audio, be out later today. It'll be on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also catch us next week, 10 a.m. on Facebook. And if you want to leave us a review, please do so. If you want to share it, we would appreciate it. All the feedback, all the shares, all that is welcome. And if you have questions or anything like that, you can always tweet them over at Touchdown Tommie, Facebook, Twitter. So wherever you want to leave a message, do so. Otherwise, we'll check you next week, and we'll be talking about the red and white game.
Yes, we will.
All right. That's it. That's the show. In the box. In the box? Is that what they say?
That's
a wrap in the box.
I guess that's what.
Well, they used to take the video footage, and I think when they're done recording, they put it in a box.
Oh, okay.
I really don't know. I might have made that up.
Okay.
All right. Till next week.
All right.